Mark Taylor, thanks for joining us today.
Hey, thanks for having me back, Greg. It's a pleasure to be here.
But Kevin Shipp called it the biggest law enforcement action in the history of the United States of America. It's foreign and domestic. I know I'm going to bring you on. I just want to get a couple of things. So where are we right now, Mark Taylor? Because a lot of people have been asking, hey, when are you going to have Mark Taylor back on? And I know you've been watching all this stuff unfold. And
right.
We're careening towards lots of people, and I don't know, hundreds, dozens for sure, hundreds involved. I mean, maybe hundreds of, if you add in human rights trafficking and corruption and bribes and the try to take down of the president and the exoneration for any kind of an investigation of Hillary Clinton. I'm leaving stuff out. Mark Taylor, where are we right now?
Well, I think right now we're on the precipice of all this stuff going nuclear, basically. When he drops the bomb, look at this. What is it? The FISA memo?
Oh my gosh! Yes, and what the leaks are is that the head of the FBI at the time, James Comey, his number two, Andrew McCabe, and number three, number two involved at the Department of Justice, Loretta Lynch, was already implicated at the Department of Justice. Now her predecessor, Jeff Sessions. But unbelievable amount of people implicated in the exoneration of Hillary and the based on phony FISA warrant applications, the phony investigation with Robert Mueller on President Trump. Go ahead.
Well, you've got this whole push right now. People are screaming, release the memo, release the memo. When you have Congress that has read the memo and they're coming out and saying this is going to be a nuclear bomb, that's bad, Greg. It's worse probably than what most people would think. And I've been on record saying this for the last year and a half, that when this stuff starts to break, they're going to have to be careful how they handle this, because it could take down parts of government. I've been saying that for the last year and a half. I went on the Jim Baker show. I released 4 objectives for the Army of God, and one of those objectives, the third objective, was to start praying now. Because when they serve these arrest warrants and they start rounding these people up, there could be some civil unrest. And it's up to us as the Army of God to blaze a trail in the spiritual so that it doesn't manifest in the natural. That was a year and a half ago that I released that. So, we are on literally the precipice, the cusp right now of this stuff, I believe, taking place. Because if he comes forward and they release that memo, Katie, bar the door. Now, I'm not saying there will be civil unrest, because, again, it's our job to pray against that stuff, but there could be some hot spots in some areas of the country, and we just need to be prepared for some of this stuff, because we are crossing a threshold in this country we've never been before. I said a long time ago that this stuff was going to go global. It's not just America that's involved in this stuff. You're going to see that come out. You're going to see other countries involved. Look what's going on in Saudi Arabia. You're seeing this corruption go worldwide. The tentacles of this thing are global. So, the depth, the length, the width of this, people just need to put their seatbelts on and buckle in. This is going to be a long ride. This is going to be going on for years. The Lord told me that these tribunals, per se, will be going on for a long time, and it will make Nuremberg look like a cakewalk, basically.
Whoa, man. I got to tell you, and I want people to come back to this. This is on whitehouse.gov, folks. So if you think that Mark Taylor is making this stuff up, and I had Kevin Shipp on, and I want to come full screen to me, you can find this executive order on the 21st of December about the executive order blocking the property and persons involved in serious human rights abuse or corruption. The president, in this memo, and I don't have it scripted out here, but I've had it out many times, called this a national emergency.
Yeah.
Now, Kevin Shipp says he can invoke the powers of the military. Oh, you mean that clause where you're supposed to protect the Constitution between all enemies, both foreign and domestic? He says this is global, just like what you said. This is Kevin Shipp, a CIA whistleblower, and one of his jobs was to protect the CIA director. So he had pretty high security clearance. What are your thoughts on the military? Because unless you watch just a few, Hannity, I got to tell you, I got to hand it to Hannity. He has been killing it on this.
Yeah.
He tells you he's not a journalist. He tells you that straight out, that he's a political, a commentator. But he has been killing it, which is, I like that. He says, hey, I'm not a journalist, but he's acting like a journalist. It's unbelievable. and he's got good sources on. What do you think about what the media is doing? They're out and Cuomo over on CNN. You can't impugn the integrity of the FBI. That they have it in writing that they referred to off-site meetings, the secret society, to plan against Trump. And then there's a whistleblower that backs that up. They had off-site meetings, and they used the term the secret society, which they're trying to laugh off. Now the media is covering it, but now they want to try to cover it up. Now what they're trying to say is, oh, it's a conspiracy theory. Oh, it was a joke. Oh, this is very dangerous. Oh, you're impugning the integrity. I mean, this is just a few of the things they've come out. Now the media is actually starting to cover this. What you read on the media and what they're doing, the mainstream media?
This video belongs to lordsprophecy.com. Please visit our website for more update.
Well, the mainstream media is, first off, again, we've talked about this before, they're corrupt. They can't be trusted, first off. They're in the pockets of the globalists. They're being told what to do, being told what to say. It's scripted out. It's a known fact that they've got scripts that they send to each one. From what my knowledge, from my understanding, and somebody can vet this if they want, but there's actually CIA operatives assigned to the mainstream media. So what they're doing
is that has happened. Then we had the news breaking out, over in Europe, in Germany, where there was a CIA whistleblower that came out and said the CIA paid us to write fake stories. That was
there you go.
Yes, in Germany, in the German press. But go ahead.
It's psychological warfare. They are literally they know how to do this, where they are manipulating the people. They are deceiving the people, and this is where I keep telling people, stop listening to the mainstream media. Go to the Donald Trump's Twitter feed. Go to his Facebook page. Listen to USA Watchdog, Greg Hunter, because I know Greg Hunter doesn't put anything on he doesn't vet. So, go to these trusted news sources, like Sean Hannity is one that you can trust. These trusted news sources, only listen to those kinds of things, because if you're listening to the mainstream media, you're tapped into literally Satan's frequency, which we've talked about on your show before. And it's psychological warfare, and they are literally trying to win the people over and to change their perception as to what is actually truly going on. And the more you listen to it, the farther away from the truth it becomes, or that you become.
Are they going to get? I'm a journalist, and listen, this is not rocket science. You just try to be fair, and you tell the truth. They're not fair, and they're not telling the truth. Is there a downside? Number one, why are they doing this? Why in the heck are they so full bore into lying? And number two, is there going to be a downside for them?
Yeah, they're doing this because, again, they're in the pockets of the globalists. They're being paid by the globalists. They're being told what to say by the globalists.
They're part of it.
They're part of that movement, so to speak. And, God has said he's going to clean out the news media. Now, how he does that, I don't know. Now, did we ever stop and think for 1 second? How many indictments are we up to right now, Greg? 10,000? Close to 10,000? Between 9,000 and 10,000 indictments?
Well, that's in the background, yes. There's a lot of indictments. Sealed.
There's sealed indictments. There's a lot of indictments. Did we ever stop and think that some of these corrupt news medias may be involved in these indictments? That maybe that's how God cleans it out? I don't know. Who knows? But I just know that God's going to clean out the news media, and the news media is going to take a hard hit. And at some point, the spirit of truth will come back to the news media.
I got to tell you, Mark, I was at CNN when they were the slogan was the most trusted name in news. And they paid me to go out and do hard-hitting investigations. And there was so many layers that I had to pass before I walked out the door, Mark. And then after I got the story, I had to know everything about it and who was going to talk and what was their credentials and what were they going to say. And not that I put words in their mouths, just that what are they going to say? And I'd ask them, what are you going to say when I ask you this? So I could tell my bosses, because I had to get money to do the story. And then when we came back, legal was all over it. Standards and practices. Oh, man. The journalism review at the highest levels at CNN, they were all over. That wasn't even doing a story on the president. If you're doing stories on the president, they're all over you. Are there going to be mass firings and layoffs at the mainstream media?
It possibly could be, because didn't the president just talk about bringing back the libel laws?
Oh, he hates the libel laws that hide behind the First Amendment. They don't just make honest mistakes, Mark. They're making mistakes, and they're not honest. They're dishonest mistakes.
No, they're purposeful mistakes is what it boils down to.
They're Harry Reid mistakes. Harry Reid was, when reporter asked Harry Reid, you lied about Mitt Romney's taxes. And, he said, well, he didn't get elected, did he? They're Harry Reid mistakes.
Right. No, how God does this, I don't know. But I mean, at some point, he is going to clean out the news media at some point, again, because the news media has become corrupt. They've become a propaganda, fear-based, fear-mongering, whatever you want to platform to move the New World Order forward, basically. So all of this stuff, if you are attached to the New World Order, if you're attached to the globalist, whatever it is, it's going to come down. At some point, it's going to come down because God is taking it down himself.
Okay, transition to Trump at Davos. I asked you about this in a pre-interview, so you wouldn't be surprised about it, and you thought about it. Trump, Davos. The New World Order is saying, and some people are saying, look, he's a globalist, he's at Davos. And I'm thinking, well, keep your friends close and your enemies closer.
Right.
I mean, he is walking in, he's Daniel walking into the lion's den, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And, and again, I think he's doing this, honestly, it has to be done because the world needs to see that America is back and that America does not have a puppet for a president. They don't have someone who's being told what to do by the globalist or the shadow government, whatever you want to call it. This man is a true leader. He's making himself known as a true leader. We have true leadership in charge of the United States of America. America's back in the game, and he's drawing a line in the sand, and it has to be done.
I would suspect he's making some pretty serious veiled and maybe not so veiled threats with these people that don't have nuclear weapons and armies and submarines and aircraft carriers at their disposal.
Right.
I mean, when you think of the President of the United States, he wouldn't be going over there if he didn't have the firm and full confidence that he had the backing of the Pentagon. Am I right?
Yeah, correct. Again, we're look at our economy right now. Look at the jobs he's bringing back. The manufacturing's coming back. Everything's coming back. Our military's starting to come back. Again, America's back in the game, and he's spreading the message worldwide right now at Davos, however you pronounce that.
I think it's Davos.
Davos.
I heard a couple of words, yeah.
Yeah, Davos. So I mean, he's spreading the message that America's back in the game. We're back in the lead. We're back in charge now, basically. Because whichever way America goes, the rest of the world follows. And it hasn't been that way under Obama's administration. So now it's a different ballgame now. So and that's the message he's spreading.
All right, so I know you're not an economist. Steve Mnuchin, the Treasury Secretary, came out and said that we're going to no longer have a strong dollar policy, but a stable dollar policy. The dollar, tanked under 90. It was 103 on the U.S. dollar index at the beginning of January of 2017. It's now like 88, 89 on the U.S. dollar index and tanking. Some people say, oh my gosh, the dollar's in trouble, we're in big trouble. You have stated in the past that the dollar's going to come back. I don't know which dollar. Will it be a Treasury dollar or will it be a Federal Reserve note? But you have stated in the past that the dollar is going to be strong again and the debt is going to be wiped out. What's your views? Do you have any new prophecies on any of that?
Well, let me go back. Let's deal with the dollar first. In the original Trump prophecy, it said the dollar would be the strongest it has ever been and would be once again the currency by which all others are judged. So we got to ask ourselves, Greg, what's going to happen to make that happen?
Yes,
something's going to happen. Something's going to happen in order to bring the dollar back and make it the strongest and make it the currency by which all others are judged. That's a pretty strong statement from God right there. So now when that happens, I don't know. I don't have a time frame on that. How that happens, I don't know. You know what I mean? So again, God's got his own plan. God's got his own way of doing things. So, I mean, at some point, the dollar will come back and be the strongest it's ever been. God's already spoken it.
Maybe the Federal Reserve note is what goes away because to me, I think that's a false dollar. Because if you look at that, people don't realize this. If you look at the change in your pocket, if you look at a quarter, it says quarter dollar, not quarter Federal Reserve note dollar. It says quarter dollar. That's a treasury instrument. The Federal Reserve notes are units of debt by the Federal Reserve Bank, which is not federal and has no reserve. They're just subcontractors to our stuff. Maybe that's it. Maybe we get rid of the Federal Reserve, which many people listening to this interview would say, hallelujah.